Hey, folks. I have a little bit. I got some good news. I got some good news. Uh, in the mail today, I got a $5,000 check just out of nowhere in the mail. Only thing is, it was my check. It was my $5,000. It was $5,000 that I had put on and I had used to win the auction for the building. And so the auctioneer, the seller, had rejected the bid for the building. And so I had bid $100,000 for the building. And I think they started the bid at $150,000. So, I actually didn't have all the money, but you had to have $5,000. I mean, the auction came out of nowhere, and so it caught me off guard. I've been spending all my money on equipment. You all can tell I'm not rich. I don't have, uh, you know, so, so I still had to get $6,000 for the first 10% of the $100,000, and so. I didn't have it, but God is still good. He can still do it, and actually, it's so funny. I went downtown and I ran into a guy who who had who was there at the auction downtown. Now let me explain this. Let me show you how good God is. I was literally I got off the bus early because I went to the Small Business Administration to see if they can give me $5,000 quickly. I was trying to get the extra $6,000. So you had to have $5,000 to bid on it. I bid $100,000 and I won the bid. So I'm already happy. I already feel like I won and a victory for the building in itself because I have been wanting the building for years. And so for the fact that it came up on auction, it was just a blessing from God from the get go. So, so you have to have $5,000 to bid on it. 1,000 goes to the auctioneer for going 75. So you had to 100. Alonzo sold. So so literally he did that. That was amazing, right? And so 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 then he gets 1,000. So that leaves 4,000. You had to have 10%, which is 10% of 100,000 is 10,000. And so I needed 6,000 more. And like I said, I've been spending my money on equipment. I didn't know the auction was going to come. Matter of fact, people were calling me on my phone and telling me my dad actually told me that the building was actually up for auction. So I have been telling people that I had wanted that building, and they said, "Hey, your building is up." And so nobody really even believed I was going to even win the auction. My dad said, "Well, if they go 100,000, he might get it," because you know. So anyway, uh, so so it was very interesting. It was very interesting, and but they said before they said before they read the rules and they said if the seller decides not to accept the bid, then you'll get your money back. So, but I just wanted to say though, so I had to get the $6,000. So I had gotten off because I went to SBA, and I had gotten off the bus, and because I still don't know how to drive my car yet. It's in the backyard. Maybe I'll focus on that now. But went down there, and I went down there, and they were closed. The SBA on the east side of Buffalo was closed. But they still have a place up at the college by state. So then I get back. I walk over to the train station, which is a bit of a ways off. I get on the train, go downtown, go to City Hall, and as I'm going to the elevator, because I was going to go down there and talk to the City Hall and say, "Hey, I got this building. I need $6,000. I need some emergency help. I'm going to develop business once I get it." And I explained the whole situation that I'm explaining to you about how it just kind of caught me off guard. I would have had the money if they had said it 2 months ago. you know, while I was at the beginning of the project, but on my last project. And, like I've been spending a lot of money on equipment. You guys know it, you see it, and stuff like that. That's out of my pocket. I haven't been borrowing or any credit or anything like that. So I'm just doing what I got to do the best I know how to make it, and to try to do it. Hey, anybody want to help me, you can feel free to help me. But right now, I'm doing it without any help because this is the only thing I have. And so anything. So anyway, so I'm walking in the elevator and I need the $6,000, right? And so I'm walking in I'm about to get in the elevator, and a guy that was in the only, like, there was two other black guys there, and so it was and I recognized this guy. It was a big guy, and you can't miss him. And so he said, but I didn't recognize him. He recognized me, and he says, "Hey, I'm about to get on the elevator." He says, "Hey, weren't you at the auction the other day?" So the auction is right around the spot was around my house. This is downtown. Okay, so I said, "Yeah, I was there." And he said, "Oh yeah, I remember you." And he said, "No way should that building have gone for $100,000." He said, "I don't know why they charge you so much for that building." I said, "Well, I'll make the money. I really want the building. I will give them the money for the building. I'll get the money because I really wanted the building, and I plan to make more money. So I was willing to pay it." He says, "Well, they should have had it at $50,000. Now, mind you, they started the bid at $150,000. Nobody said anything. They dropped it to $50,000. People started bidding, and then he rolls it up. So he's a good auctioneer. And like they said, they told us that if they don't want it, they can reject it. So anyway, so he says, "Yeah," he says, "so what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do to the building?" I said, "I was going to do computer graphics, films, green screen, motion capture, so all that, blah, 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 blah." And he says, "Now that's all I can do to do it, because I done checked with everybody in Buffalo and nobody else has space for me. So I'm just trying to get a space so I can do it myself. And the most best advantageous place is right around the corner. So this is what I'm doing. I tried the Langston Hughes. They sold the Langston Hughes building. I talked to other people. I told them about the motion capture. I bought the motion capture system. Cost me $6,000. Still nothing. No help. Matter of fact, I was dealing with Langston Hughes, and my sister got locked up for a while. It couldn't be helped. There's a lot of things that happen down here. So anyway, so I said I'm doing motion capture. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make the money back, whatever, And there's no industry for this here in Buffalo. So I just got to do it and keep the faith in you anyway. So then I said to you, "So what did you want to do with the space?" And he said, and then I said to him, I said, "What did you want to do with the space?" And he said, "Well, I just needed a place to put my boats." I said, "Well, you still got the money. You can still put your boats there. It's plenty of space there. You can still put your boats in the back, and I'll just, you could give me the $5,000. How long do you need the space?" He said, "Well, I only need it for 2 years." I said, "Well, if that'll make you happy, will that really make you happy?" He said, "I need it for longer than that." I said, "You got it. Just give me the $5,000 and you can have the space." So that was my $6,000 that, and another $1,000 I could get, so God bless you. I love y'all all. So I would have had the money. I'd have had the money. But it was just a situation. It was just they rejected the bid. But it's not over. It is not over because they rejected the bid. Now check this out. So the building that I originally wanted, which is the green one, I showed it in the video, is the green one. They originally wanted $300,000 for that. So I didn't really, to sell it. I actually went there a couple of times because I was going to rent space there. And so, I still could do that, but but I talked to them. They don't want to rent it. Now they don't want to rent it. And with the other situation, I don't know what's going on with them. But anyway, I talked to the guy and I said, "Wait a minute, y'all rejected my offer?" He says, "Yeah." He said, he said the auctioneer said, well, he just used us to drive up the cost. And I said, well, talk to that guy. I need that building. You know, I want that building. I gotta have that building. Give me the building. Ah, give me my building. Ah. So I'm on the phone, right? So I was like, give me the building. What do you mean I can't have a building? No, I didn't do all that. But I just said, give me the bill. So he says, no, the guy probably used us to just drive up the cost. I'm like, whatever. And he says, I said, well, he said, but the other building, the original building that I wanted, they said, you know, they're selling that through another realtor, which was $300,000. And he said, but we could probably get the price down to $169,000. And I said, well, what's the difference between getting that one for $169,000 and that one for $159,000? Because that's what the other guy wanted. And I said, so Troy mentioned something that they backed out of it and raised the price. David, you know, my man, my colleague, he says there's something fishy when they do that. So I don't know if you got any comments on how to deal with these cats, but they said they could do that. So I'm not arguing with them on it. But I just need the building. I need the space. So I don't know. I might, you know, it's not over. You know, it's a good thing. Maybe I'll be more prepared. You know, my father said, you know, hey, you know, it's good you got your feet wet. I told my dad, I said, I got the money back. And he said, glory be, because your parents worry about you and they don't want to see you hurt. And my dad, he don't understand this about money. You know, he worked in the steel plant. He's like, you know, okay. He said, I'm glad you got your $5,000. Keep the money. I'm like, Dad, I can make more money, or you know, so you don't really. He's just happy that I got my money. He just didn't want me. You know, my parents worry. You know, they worry. They're concerned about you. You know, he says, I just didn't want you to lose the $5,000 because if I didn't get the $6,000, then I could have lost my money. But I was a risk I was willing to take. You know, for my business, for my goals, my dreams. It's a risk, and that's really the deciding factor. Lots of people aren't willing to take the risk. You know, I could have took that risk, put the money on it, and just like, where am I going to get the money from? You know. Or I could have said, you know, I knew the other guy who was selling the building, he came to me before. He says, oh, you don't want to put your money down on that. You know, he was trying to get me to get his building. He was like, oh, you don't want to put your money down on that. You lose your money. You know, you could lose all your money there. And so I'm like, the beads of sweat was like starting to come down. I'm like, you know, so anyway, it was been tough. I'm wore out. I'm wore out. So on the Funkadelic, George is here today, and I would like to deal with them, but I can't do nothing. I'm just wiped out. So anyway, God bless you all. Love you all. It's not over. It's still some things happening. Oh, this is 13 minutes already.